Hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout Wasteland Warfare Settlement Mode playthrough, episode 9 I think we're up to, of 12. We're getting there. The end of season 3 is in sight. And it was pretty much unanimous once again after last week where we did a save week to spend the hefty amount of the caps we had. We had just over 1200 I believe. 800 of that has been spent to upgrade the sniper rifle and sniper nest in New Hope to an anti-material rifle, which is a big upgrade. That's why it was so expensive. We can't take it on missions, but that is a nice hefty gun to defend the homestead, as it were. So that has been upgraded. We'll see obviously at the end of the video how many caps we have to spend going forwards, and that's also going to include selling stuff, because after last time we had a ton of loot. I think we had 18 bits of loot, 5 of which we can take into battle, 8 of which we can retain, not counting unique items, which I do forget sometimes, but you can retain unique items for free. So to save you seeing me deliberate on camera, I've done the deliberating off camera just to speed things up a little bit, and what we have here is what's staying behind this week in New Hope. So the fire axe, laser rifle, gecko backed metal armor, 2 sets of the power armor of the 3 we have, the trail carbine even though I was tempted by it, throwing spear, combat shotgun, and then the 2 uniques that aren't getting brought today, the incendiary baton and the incendiary assault rifle. Those are all staying behind in New Hope. We're having to sell 4 things, and I'll get their cap value in a second here. They're the patch 3-piece suit that's being sold, the dog bandana, because I don't really see the benefit of giving dog meat +1 endurance when his health is tied to his agility, so that's going. The anti-venom balm is just, it's taking up space for better gear, so that's going to get sold, and I'm selling a sledgehammer as well. So I'll get the cap value for that to tell you what it's all worth in a second here. I'm bringing the sturdy metal armor, the hunter's hunting rifle, the triggerman bowler, the power fist, and a set of T60 power armor into the next battle with us. You can already see a little preview of who's coming to the battle. We'll look at that in more detail in a second once I find out the cap value of selling that gear. So the combined value of selling those items to the Wasteland passing traders and whatnot isn't much. It's 40 caps in total, but every little counts. So we have 40 more caps to the total that we'll talk about at the end of the video, prior to putting out the next vote for what we spend our time on over the next week. This is who's coming on the mission today. We're going to cover that first before we do explore cards, just because they're sitting here. We have the Soul Survivor Dogmeat Pennyworth, who is bringing his Buzzblade, Flamer and Laser. And then we have John, but he is going to be donning some T60 power armor. I'm going to try something a little bit different with him this week, because not only does he have the T60 power armor, he is also going to be given the power fist. Because in this game you can use a power fist while in power armor, which makes sense to me, but not to whoever made Fallout 76. So he's going to try that, because with the boosted strength that the power armor gives him, he's going to be getting an extra black die on top of the 2 the power fist has. It also has a massively high chance of doing a stun. So I think that might be better than just the raw damage of the fire axe. So that's the team that's going to be going on the mission today. But first of all, we're going to resolve some Explorer cards, then we'll hear what they're actually doing. Alright, last thing to do. Explorer cards, 2 of, and we can reroll 1. Let's go for you, first of all. Militant General Hospital. In the dark corners of the operating theatres, a few useful items still remain. Either draw 1 medical item or draw just 2 general items. I will draw 2 general items, but we'll do that when we are ready to set up, because that's when the Wasteland deck will need to be handy anyway. And let's go for a 2022 card. Let's go for that. Cunningham's Diner. This place must have been trading for some time after the Great War, as there's a hidden compartment in the back of one of the registers which contains a pile of caps. I'll just take the 103 caps, thank you very much. Excellent. That was much better than I thought it would be. So we'll draw 2 cards at deployment from the Wasteland deck, but yeah, we just get 103 caps. Perfect. Let's hear what we're doing today. Quest 9, a call answered. A win will result in 200 caps, a loss will result in 120 caps. Quest overview. The enigmatic mechanist heard the open radio calls from New Hope regarding the wild creature attacks happening around the area. They have agreed to a small group meeting them on neutral ground quite far from New Hope. The costumed stranger can't be ruled out as the direct cause of the animals acting strangely, so, with caution, New Hope sets out to meet the mechanist. So you will have just heard what we're doing today, and the places you currently see my team set up is actually where they're starting, so basically the middle of the board. Did forget to mention, but specifically the Sole Survivor has the sturdy metal armour and the Hunter's hunting rifle. Obviously Pennyworth has the Triggerman bowler because it's for Mr. Handies, etc. And we covered what John was equipped with, just forgot everyone else. So they are meeting with the Mechanist to try and get to the bottom of what's been going on, and the Mechanist appears to be alone right there. But all is not what it seems. And I will say, we're going to change to a different scene in a second here. If you want to be entirely surprised by what enemies are going to appear, skip ahead maybe like 40 seconds to a minute. Just while I cover the mechanics of how we're going to select what appears, because it gives away what's going to appear. But if you worry about that, skip ahead like 40 seconds and then we'll be back. And for those of you that don't mind knowing what enemies are going to appear, you'll see before you the numbers 1 through 6. In a row here, and that denotes what is going to spawn over the first 3 turns of a 5-turn game. At the start of the turn we're going to roll a d6. 2 numbers each turn will spawn. Generally, the lower the number, the more nasty the thing that will be appearing, and they are all coming to kill us all. The lose condition, well actually you know what, we'll talk about the lose condition once we've looked at this real quick, because everyone should know what that is, not just anyone who didn't care about seeing what enemies are appearing. So that is how we're going to handle what is appearing. With that, let's go back. So with the specifics of what's going to spawn out the way, let's just cover the general rules. 5 turns as always. If the Mechanist or the Sole Survivor are incapacitated, i.e. brought to 0 health, it is considered a loss. A win will be as long as both of them are still alive at the end of turn 5. A d6 is going to be rolled at the top of every turn, and it's going to denote what spawns. 2 per turn for the first 3 turns. And for the purposes of this mission, they are going to automatically pass climb tests to get up onto this building. It will take an action, but they will automatically pass. There is no chance they will fall. That is, I think, the only other rule. Now, it might be a little bit one-sided against us with what's going to be spawning, if you were paying attention to the part we just did there. But the Mechanist is a bit paranoid. He did not come to this meeting alone after they started talking and howls were heard in the distance. And as soon as that happened, 2 Assaultrons decloaked around him, which were actually there the entire time, his bodyguards, and then a grating in the building they're meeting on opened up, and Mr. Sentrybot has come out to play right there. They are considered part of the team, the Mechanist, the Assaultrons, and the Sentrybot. They're all going to be fine off, but what matters is the Mechanist and the Sole Survivor actually living to the end of this. So we're going to jump into turn 1, after we roll, take our items of course. I need to get the Wasteland deck. So pardon me a moment while we go over here. Our Explore card immediately gives us 2 loot, which is just as well, because there's not any loot on the map really. There's not an opportunity. This is pure kind of like survival. So here's the Wasteland deck. Let's cut it a few times. We'll take that item, and we'll take that item. Let's see what we got from that Explore card before we actually start. We got a hunting revolver. Okay, black range, 2 dice, it can stun, and it helps people land hits. That could be a good gun for the Scavenger. Not that shooting is his speciality, but that would be a good gun for him. And and a kneecapping 44 revolver is a unique item. That is perfect because that doesn't take up storage space. We are 100% giving that to John both now and forever because he's a specialist with 44 revolvers. And I think this is just a flat out better version. Let me just lean over here. The normal 44 revolver I believe is just double yellow. So this adds the blue dice, which has a chance to cripple targets. That is amazing. Alright, we're going to jump into turn 1 now, which means we need to roll for what's appearing and where they spawn. Alright, I have a bog standard d6 in hand to see what's going to be spawning for turn 1. No matter what it is, they will get first activation as well. And we're going to roll 2 numbers. Any repeats will just roll until it's not a repeat. Then we're rolling the armor die to see where they spawn from. If it's a 2 or a 4, they are spawning right here, which means the Sentrybot has prime target of them, which means it's in our favour. 1 or a 3, which are the more common options, they're going to come in from the side over there. So that is what we're doing. I did forget to mention, but the Sentrybot's just default equipment, missile launcher, minigun. The Assaultrons just have their blade and I-beam, and the Mechanist is wearing the Mechanist's armour and has the Protectron's gaze. It really should be the Assaultron's gaze, because it's a death beam, but armed with the Protectron's gaze and the Mr. Handy Buzz Blade, which is also his default equipment. So, what is going to be coming to get us? The lower the number, the worse it is. Right in the middle, kinda. So we've got a 3, and haha, that's nasty. Okay, well, it was a 3 first. So, where is the number 3 spawn appearing? over there. Fair enough. And where's the number 1 spawning? Oh, okay, that's not so bad. So the nastier thing is going to appear right here, and the less, well, still kind of bad, is going to appear over there. We'll show you what that is in a second. And the nasty 2 first spawns are on the table. Of course, it's of the 3 worst possible things to spawn, 2 of them were turn 1. That's this playthrough in a nutshell, isn't it? So we have a glowing Yaoguai down here on this table edge. On the plus side, the sentry bot is his closest threat, so the sentry bot can probably take the hits at the very least. But the other spawn is a rad scorpion, which is over on this edge of the table and will be able to scurry up. Again, usually creatures don't climb, or yeah, most of them can't climb. For the purposes of this though, and because of the influence they're under, they will be able to climb and do it perfectly. And with that, we are starting proper now, with one of those 2 activating selected at random because they have less numbers. So somewhat thankfully it was the rad scorpion that was randomly selected, and it scurried forward range red, and then did an automatically succeeding climb test, which normally again it wouldn't be able to do, but this is just a special instance. It clambered up, or maybe it just popped up, right up there behind my poor settlers. But on the plus side, they have a turn to get in on it before it gets to charge, and that was kind of like on purpose here, where they have a turn of trying to soften whatever's about to get to them, because a turn later it's definitely getting to them. So we'll see. It's safe to ignore the rad scorpion until I need to activate the rest of my team up there. For now though, we should probably worry about doing some damage to this gentleman before he gets close. So of course I'm going to activate the Mechanist's sentry bot to start with, because I never get to play with heavy weapons. Despite having them in the Wasteland deck for 3 seasons now, we just never get them. So the sentry bot, we're going with him. Minigun and a missile launcher. We're going to go with the missile launcher first. He has a role that allows him to fire 2 heavy weapons a turn, so he's just going to sit there and do that, and hopefully soften up this murder bear that's over here. So for the missile launcher, it's a black plus yellow at range black. He hits on 8s, and it does have a chance to deviate if it fails, but hopefully it won't fail. It definitely did not fail. Oh, and that reminded me, the Mechanist generates crits because of his armor. So the bottle cap does nothing. Direct hit means he's taken 3 damage though, and with the 1 armor break he is down to 1+1. So he did block 2 damage unfortunately, and it only does 2. Oh no, sorry, the direct hit does 1 extra. He did 1 whole damage. The direct hit always does 1 extra damage for that, so there we are. And then he's going to fire his minigun. Miniguns are weird in this game because you can fire up to 5 times as 1 action, and it doesn't need to hit the same target. It can target someone who's within yellow of your original target, so if there was like a cluster of raiders, you could spread the shots. It's only a black die for this. I guess we'll roll the 5 hits first because it's all on the Yaoguai. It's only 1 damage each time, plus whatever the black die. Well, actually no, because the black die will make things complicated, we'll do it 1 at a time. First shot is a hit with no extra damage, so it's just 2+1. Actually, with his +1 super armor, the minigun can't hurt him, I just realised, unless you roll extra on the black die. So second shot, doesn't matter. If we don't roll extra on the black die, we'd no point rolling it out. That would have missed anyway. This is second last shot. Okay, so that's 2 damage. So there is a chance. Nope. And then finally, we basically need the double damage on the black die. Again, it does hit, so that's 2 damage versus 2+1. He fully blocked it every time. So he got 1 damage all said and done. Not great, but it's a start. Well, the glowing Yaoguai moved up and then initiated a charge. Got to take his damage with him there into the sentry bot that's counting his base to base. Can't attack this turn, obviously, but now they're locked in combat, which might make it harder to hit the glowing Yaoguai. Forgot to mention, but for the AI for the creatures on the map, most of them are just like attack, attack, attack. For instance, the Yaoguai, he's only attack and fallback. If a fallback on the AI table was going to be rolled, it's going to count as objective, which in this scenario is going to be try and get to or hurt either the Soul Survivor or the Mechanist, like prioritise that above all else. But it got just generic attack this time, so he's going after the closest threat, which is the sentry bot. So it's all the rest of my activations now in turn 1, but do remember, at the top of the next turn, 2 more sets of enemies will appear. It's not necessarily just 1 enemy either. I went with John, and he's doing something very heroic. He initiated a charge off the building, and he can do that because, well, technically he can do that because if you're in power armor you don't take fall damage. So he just leapt off the building all hero-like, did a superhero landing, and has engaged the Yaoguai to test out how powerful he is with that power fist. So the power fist normally, 2 black dice. And his strength is over 7 thanks to that power armor, so there's a third black dice. Outnumber bonus gives him a green, and he's taking a green for his charge bonus to try and make it land. And he is hitting on an 8, I believe, thanks to the power armor. Let me just double check. Base 6 plus 3, yep. On 9s, this could be really, really powerful, unless he whiffs. He got a crit, he didn't whiff. Well, that is an armor break. So, does the bottle cap do anything? That does a stun, that's perfect. So, breaking 1 armor, doing 1 extra damage. It's only 1 base, unfortunately, so that is just 2 versus 1 plus 1 armor. And he fully blocked it. But he did get stunned. That's good, because that means he's only getting 1 action next time he activates. So that's okay. Could have been better. I think between the two of them, they can handle that. Fingers crossed. One of the Mechanist Assaultrons activated, moved over here red, then just shuffled half a red move over here. The reason for that is that for every action an Assaultron does that is not an attack action, as long as an enemy is in line of sight, it adds 1 primed to its Assaultron's gaze, is that what it's called? Assaultron's head laser, sorry. And if it fails, it automatically fires as a free action. So he is firing, or she is firing, the head laser at the Rad Scorpion, because both actions could see it. And it's 3 base energy damage, and also rolls 2 yellow and a black die. So let's see what this can do. It is hitting on an 8. Just as well. So 1 extra damage, oh, it came down to a 7. Double armor break, so that shatters the only energy armor the Rad Scorpion has actually. It just did 4 damage to it of its 6 health. That is really good. Well, I was not expecting the Assaultron's death beams to be that effective, although they are death beams, so the answer or the hint was in the name. I'm going to go with the Soul Survivor, see if we can't finish off that Scorpion, because he's technically rolling the same dice. With the Hunter's Hunting Rifle, extra black die thrown in for hitting a creature. He's not hitting on an 8 though, he's hitting on a 5. Less chance, but at least he gets 2 shots. That is a hit, 1 extra damage. Quick action he could possibly do, prepare. Either way though, that is against his physical armor, which for Rad Scorpion is 3. He blocks the 1 and takes 2 and is actually dead. Was not expecting that, so in that case, where do I want to move the Soul Survivor? If he's on the edge, he could shoot at something, but then he's be more liable to get attacked. Maybe if we move him... Could move him up to the railing. Yeah, we'll just move him up to the railing here. Oh yeah, and we have their super armor that they're supposed to have. I keep forgetting to put it on the table. But yeah, okay. One thing that I thought would be a much bigger threat is gone, largely thanks to the Assaultron, to be honest. But that does mean the other one doesn't have line of sight of the Yao Guai currently. So next, Pennyworth activated, and instead of putting him on the edge of the banister where the Soul Survivor moved, I'm moving him over here and taking a prepare, so that when something that spawns at the start of next turn inevitably moves first, he'll at least get a little quick shot off on it, and hopefully do some damage. We'll see though. The second Assaultron over by the Mechanist activated, moved forward twice. Its primed weapon did not proc at all because it couldn't see the enemies. In fact, if you have, like, say, primed 1 of 2 and you complete an action in which it didn't see an enemy, it goes back down. So it's at 0, but also on the edge there with Pennyworth. It might jump off. I'm not sure how suicidal Assaultrons are, but to slow down any enemies that spawn next turn, it might jump off and engage. So just 2 activations left until the end of the turn. The Mechanist activated and went over to those boxes to hide. He's not coming forwards to do anything, at least not yet. He's very untrusting in anything except his robots. That just leaves Dogmeat, who can't really do anything. I don't want Dogmeat to send himself off the edge of the building. So I guess he's just going to kind of position himself in the middle here so that he can leap to the defense of either primary target. And that'll have to do. So all in all, the first turn, despite 2 of the nastier things spawning, turned out pretty good. Let's see what event is going to carry us over into the next one. It is going to be this one. Cleansing Rain. A brief shower washes away the accumulated dirt. Add 2 random items to the battlefield. Player with advantage marker chooses 2 opposite corners. From each corner, place 1 item green from the edge next to the corner. I'm going to pick where the enemies are spawning from, so that it's a bit risky if I decide to go for these. So the rain moved some dirt around, revealed some items, and you can see where they are green in from both edges where enemies are spawning. Top of turn 2, we have to spawn 2 more groups of enemies, re-rolling a 1 or a 3, because those have already been spawned. A 6, that's the least threat, and a 2, that's the last remaining dangerous, or especially dangerous threat. So for 6, is it coming in at this edge or the side? It is coming in from Where was that? I've already forgotten now. That's this edge, right? And then for the other one, that's cocked. I'll roll that again. Oh, the same. Okay then, but there is one more thing we actually need to roll for group 6. Rerolling a 4. How many of them are there? Okay, how many of them are there? 1. Okay, we got lucky. Well, I hope I'm remembering my own rules correctly, that 2 or a 4 was this table edge, because the more likely option was the side that didn't have the sentry bot guarding it. If I am messing that up, I apologise, but either way, the spawns are correct. We have a putrid glowing one, and thankfully only a single radroach. If you're wondering why you have 4 was a reroll, it's because I have 3 radroach bases. That's the only reason. So there could have been up to 3 radroaches. We got insanely lucky, and there's only the 1, so which isn't very nice. One of those creatures on the map, though, is still going to be the first activation. We have some prepares that might proc, we'll see. And of course it was the glowing Yao Guai who activates first. Plus side though, he is stunned, so he's only getting the 1 action after he shakes that. But he is going to take a swipe with his glowing Yao Guai swipe, I think it is just called, yep. Into the sentry bot, because that's who he engaged against, and he didn't get that he wanted to do objective / fall back. So, he is rolling some nasty dice for this though, if we just come around over here. Black, yellow, blue, extra green thrown in for his charge bonus that was randomised, and he is strength 7+ for another black die, and he does some special stuff on the blue die results. We'll see what happens. He is hitting on a 6. Not super great. Let's see. It's a 7 that does not come down at all, which is just as well, because that would have been 2 extra damage for 4 in total, armor break, a stun, and 1 radiation damage AoE yellow. So let's just say it's really, really good that that missed. So my first activation is going to be the Soul Survivor, which wastes his prepare. I didn't want to proc it down there because chances are he'd just shoot friendly. So he's going to shoot his Hunter's Hunting Rifle long range, because short range is just green, and the newly spawned enemies are just out of that. And he's going to shoot at the Radroach Swarm just to try and remove them instantly. So the extra black die is because of it being a Hunter's Hunting Rifle, shooting at a creature on 5s. 7, 6, 5. It hits just. Oh, actually, it came down by another 1. It hit plenty. So that is 3 damage versus a Radroach's armor of 1. He didn't block any. He took 3. He's on 1 health. And there was an outside shot that he could have got one-shotted there, which would have been perfect. But I'll take that. He could still finish him off though. Robin gets another shot, as we say. A 6 comes down by 3. Extra damage, doesn't matter what the armor roll is. Yep, the Radroach is splatted. So it would have been a lot worse if there was multiple of them, but thankfully we rolled low on a roll that we needed to, so that is the weakest threat that could have spawned and gone from the table. So the putrid glowing one activated. If you roll a nuke for his AI, which is a pretty simple one, he's only got the 1 column, it would be a move that would send him after the objective targets, but nope, he just wanted to attack. So he moved up and initiated a charge into John in that T60 per armor because he targets the highest armor, and he's taking a green die for his charge bonus. At the end of his turn though, you roll a blue die, and if it's a bottle cap, he lets out a little radiation burst orange. It doesn't affect the sentry bot, but it has a chance of affecting John. His power armor gives him 4+1 though, so actually it's only 1 radiation damage, so it can't hurt him. So thankfully, if he wasn't in that power armor, it would have though, I think. So I am going to go with John next, and he's going to use that Power Fist against the putrid glowing one, I think, just to try and bust through his armor. It's actually, well, his physical armor is exactly the same as the Yao Guai's, but has less health overall. So he's going to try punching him. No outnumbered bonus, no charge bonus, but he does have his strength bonus, so that Power Fist is rolling 3 black dice in total, and he's hitting on, it was 9s, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Hitting on 9s, that is a 9. Ho ho ho! There's the power of rolling black dice. Jeez. It's only 1 damage base, but it's a total of 5 damage versus 2+1 armor. He blocked 2, so essentially he blocked that and took 3. That was a good punch to the gut with a pneumatic power fist. So 3 damage of the 11 that the putrid glowing one has, and let's see if he can complete the feat again with a second punch. He hits, not as good this time. The bottle cap does the stun though, that's important as well. Almost as important as doing damage. So there's the stun, but it's just 2 damage now versus 2+1. You fully block the damage. That's okay. gotta go with the sentry bot next, but he wants to shoot, so he is pulling out of combat, which makes things a lot more dangerous for John, so an Assaultron might jump down to try and help him. But he's pulling back, which means the glowing Yao Guai gets to take a attack of opportunity. Extra black die is because of his strength, but with the negative to being an attack of opportunity, he's only on 4s here. Okay, he did hit. The bottle cap stuns as well. Oof. I don't suppose sentry bots are immune to stun, are they? No, they are not. Not at all. So that means the move out of combat is the one thing he's doing, because I'm pretty sure that counts. Actually, yeah, it must do. It must count as an action. But that's just his base 2 damage then, versus the sentry bot's 3+1 physical armor. He fully blocks it, but because of the stun... Oh, actually, yeah, it hit. So the stun would proc. So for his other action, he just removes the stun, I guess. So the Assaultron over here dropped it down, and we're going to roll for that in a second, and then complete another move here in such a way that during both actions an enemy was in line of sight, so the head laser is going to fire. But we're going to do a black die worth of damage for dropping off the building there. Nothing. Had to be a damage marker. So, shooting into combat though, hopefully not going to hit John. So this is on a 10, thanks to shooting into combat. It does indeed hit with only 1 armor break, no extra damage, but 3 base. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 is how we're doing the targets. That would be her target, which is the putrid glowing one. So that is 3 energy damage versus its 3+1 energy defense. Oh, it fully blocked it. Ouch. Similarly, the other Assaultron hopped off the ledge, also going to take black die of damage, engaging in a charge to the Yao Guai, and is going to swipe. But first of all, did they take any fall damage? They did not. That would be there, so no. For their Assaultron swipe, it's normally just yellow and a green. Black die is the charge bonus, and in melee, oh actually they're strength 7, so they get an extra black die. Sorry about that. So there we go, it's actually 2, and they are hitting on 6s. It is a hit with a quick action, 1 extra damage. That means it's 3 physical damage. Can they do anything with a quick action? A prepare or a move or a charge? Okay, and this is 2+1 armor. Ooh, only the 1, which means 2 damage gets through. Very nice. That is 3 damage in total to the glowing Yao Guai of its total of 14 health. So it's got, oh good grief, it's got 11 left. We don't have to kill them though, we just have to keep them tied up in combat really. So here's the thing with the rest of the activations. I've got Dogmeat, Pennyworth and the Mechanist. But I don't want to drop everybody down because they would have to do climbing tests to get back up, and those are hard if your agility sucks. So I don't want to send anyone else down just in case anyone makes it up onto the roof, because that could be disastrous. So Pennyworth is just going to stay here and keep that prepare or take another one. And Dogmeat is just going to hang around the Mechanist, and the Mechanist is, again, still being quite cowardly while his robots handle everything. He's just going to stay there, which means we are already at the end of the second turn with very messy combat still over here. There's still time to go get those items towards the end, once I know I'm safe. And we'll know, or we'll have a better picture of that at the top of the next turn, because the top of turn 3 is the last spawns. So we'll know in total how many enemies we're dealing with. So the Cleansing Rain was pretty handy. It was a rare nice event card, relevant either neutral or bad. So let's see what else we can find. Let's take this one. Fresh. A welcome cool breeze cleanses the air. It is easier to focus. Any yellow die with a blank face is treated as a -1. I'll try and remember that because that could be insanely useful, although it applies to the enemy attacks as well. So top of the third turn, we don't need to roll the d6 because there is only 2 more groups of enemies left to come in of the 6. It's groups 4 and groups 5, but we do still need to roll where they're coming in and then also how many of them there are. So for group 4, let's roll for, you know what, let's roll how many of them there are first. And in this instance, 4s do count. 2, that's not bad. So 2 enemies are coming in from which side? 1, so they're coming in over there. 2 enemies will be over there. And then for group 5, how many of them is there? In this case, we are re-rolling 4s. Only 1. We got lucky. Which side are they coming in from? It's coming in here. So 1 enemy from group 5, 2 enemies from group 4. Back in a second. So the enemies are spawned in. We have 2 mongrels down there, and we have a single feral ghoul down there. Got very lucky with the spawns where there was going to be multiple of them, but sometimes the dice goes in your favour. It doesn't happen very often. So we're running with it. But there is obviously still the barely damaged Yao Guai and putrid glowing one. They're locked in combat, but if they roll the right AI, they could choose to break away. It would potentially cost them a little bit of health, but they still could do it, so it ain't over yet. Let's see which one of them is going to activate. The freshly spawned Feral Ghoul was the first to activate for the AI, and it charged in from where it spawned into the Assaultron that dropped down last turn. So it is getting to attack this turn. It's taking a black die as its charge bonus, randomly selected, and its normal Feral Ghoul swipe is a green plus a black die, hitting on 6s. That is a 9, which is just as well because that would have been 4 damage with an armor break, but thankfully no, it missed. I've got to go with John. I want to see this Power Fist do some more damage. So John is going to punch into the Putrid Glowing one. Extra black die for a strength bonus on 9s. Yeah, that is a hit. Oh, just base damage, huh? Well, that's against his 2+1 super armor. Well, the +1 super armor alone means that can't do any damage. That's like the polar opposite of his last roll. Let's see, come on, get some extra damage. Well, he hits because of how high his strength is, and that comes down to an 8. It's only 2 damage though, versus, and no stuns, versus his 2+1. He fully blocks it. Oh, John did not have a good turn there. One of the mongrels that spawned on this flank activated. It moved and then it clambered up the wall, ignoring Pennyworth. It is just gunning for the sole survivor. But after his first movement was completed, Pennyworth would get to do that snapshot with his Mr. Handy Laser. Down to a 5, I believe he would be hitting on. Yes. 8, not good enough. He whiffed. So Mr. Sentrybot over here is going to activate, and his only potential targets are all locked in combat, but he doesn't really care. So he is going to attack, but we're going to roll the armor dice to see what he attacks with rather than just relying on pure AI alone, because he's not really AI, because he's on my side. So on a 2 or a 4 he's going to shoot the missile launcher. On a 1 or a 3 it's the minigun. Okay, it's the minigun, so less chance for collateral damage, I suppose. He's going to shoot at the glowing Yaoguai, which might potentially do some damage to the Assaultron. We shall see. So the minigun is just a black die, but we're rolling 5 shots, and he's hitting on, well, it would be up to 9s. So let's see how many of the shots. Oh, I have to do each one separately. I keep forgetting because of the black die. Well, he actually managed to miss the first one. Second one, that is a hit for 1 extra damage. 1 and 3 is the Yaoguai. He is hitting the Yaoguai, so that is 2 damage versus his 2+1. He fully blocks it. Third shot, it's a hit, same again. 1 and 3. It is the Yaoguai. How much does it block? It blocks 2, so it fully blocks it. Then this is what, shot 4? It's a hit, but it doesn't do any extra damage, so we still have to check who it hits though, because it would hurt the Assaultron potentially. It is hitting the Assaultron. So that is... oh no, they've got 2+1 armor as well, so they can't get hurt by the basic damage either. Final shot. The bottle cap on the minigun does nada. Nope, so no matter who it hits out of the two of them, they have super armor, so it wouldn't hurt them. He should have used the missile launcher, but I wanted to leave it up to chance. Oh, I was totally forgetting he can fire 2 heavy weapons in 1 turn. So you know what? I'm gonna fire the missile launcher, and I'm firing it at the glowing Yaoguai. Yes, it means the Assaultron and John are gonna get hit. The Putrid Glowing one could get hit as well. I feel like this is worth the stupidity. So he's gonna shoot the missile launcher. Hopefully gets it on target. He is shooting into combat, so presumably the bonus applies, and he's 8 normally on heavy weapons. Oh, I was doing him on 7 there. He should have been on 8. It doesn't matter. Well, he definitely hits with a 1 armor break extra. So his main target, though, I presume you still randomize because you're shooting into combat? That may be wrong. So 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Oh, you suck. Well, his primary target potentially takes 3 damage. The John and the Yaoguai will both take 2 damage, and that's it. So the 3 damage on the Assaultron against 2+1 armor only blocks 1 and takes 2. The Yaoguai, 2+1 armor, only blocks the 1, so actually does get damaged, and we'll take that 1 damage away and swap it with another 2, so up to 4 damage in total. There we go. And then the 2 damage on John, which is against his power armor, 3+1. he fully blocked it, thankfully. So honestly, net positive, kinda. The other mongrel activated and also moved up twice, utterly ignoring Pennyworth, instead choosing to go after fresh meat over there, thankfully leaving the putrid glowing one and the Yao Guai till later in the turn. Going with one of the Assaultrons now, the one engaged with the glowing Yao Guai, trying to do a bit more damage to it before the sentry bot accidentally kills her. Extra black die is because of their 7+ strength, but they are hitting on 6s because their melee attack is tied to their agility. That's the first crit fail of the entire game. Not bad, I suppose. And gets another attack. That's a crit for 1 extra damage, putting it at 3 physical damage versus 2+1 armor. Blocks 2, takes 1, up to 5 damage in total. The glowing Yao Guai is activating, and it was actually a hidden blessing that it didn't take more damage, because if it was on 6+ damage, that would put it at 8 or less HP, which would change its AI track. Its initial AI track is just, it would only fall back, which again we're treating as objective, if you roll a nuke, which is the least likely result in a blue die. But if they go down to between 5 and 8 health remaining, which he's one away from, the middle track would also become a potential fallback, which I think is stars, which is like the next least likely result on the die. But again, that just would have increased the chances of him saying, hey, let's climb up there and eat someone instead. But no, he did get attack and didn't get a nuke. So he's taken 2 swipes at the Assaultron he's engaged with now, because the target's right there. Extra black die is because of their miserable strength, 7+, it's strength 10. Only hitting on 6s. 8 does not come down at all. Oh, that does count as a -1 because of the event, but that doesn't give him enough. So thankfully, that didn't get through. The other shot, look at me remembering an event card. Oh, thank goodness that was a crit fail. That would have been 5 damage with a stun with an arm break. Oof. I'm activating the Soul Survivor, and I'm going to have him shoot into combat, but I'm going to have him shoot into the combat down here, because if the Feral Ghoul can go down, that frees up the Assaultron to help out John, because I don't want to jump the Soul Survivor down there. Now, I may only do 1 shot, and if it goes badly, change tact and instead shoot one of the dogs. We shall see. Either way though, at current range, he is long range still, so it's 2 greens, black die because he's targeting a creature. Normally on 5s, but he's heading into combat, so it's on 7s. He does hit, ooh, good grief does he hit, but does he hit his target? 1 and 3 is the ghoul. He is hitting the ghoul, it's just 2 flat damage versus 1 armor, which he does block, so he takes 1 whole damage. So now I need to make the decision, do I do it again, or do I shoot at one of the doggos? I don't think if he shoots one more time it's going to be a kill. I'm going to shoot at one of the dogs instead, and they are within short range, so instead of 2 green dice, I need 2 yellow dice. Still get the black die though, and back down to 5s. Ha! Well, it wouldn't have mattered either way. He missed. Last enemy activation, the putrid glowing one is going to attack John. He didn't get a nuke on his AI, which normally would be a move, but we would treat as an objective. So his swipe is 2 black dice, but his first attack is going to get that green die for his charge bonus. He is strength 7, so extra black die for that. This could potentially hurt. And then you've got to resolve radiation damage afterwards. He is hitting on a 7. Oh, it would help if I rolled a skill die as well, of course. Hitting on a 7. That is a crit fail with a quick action. They do not have quick actions. They don't have quick actions. Yeah, okay. So that was just a whiff. The green die goes away, because that was his charge bonus. And then the other one, it is a hit this time for 1 extra damage. So that is a total of 3 damage physical versus 3 plus 1 for his power armor. He actually fully blocked it because that was knocked. But you have to then resolve the radiation damage, although he's got 4 plus 1 in his power armor, so it can't hurt him. So he's fine. That was lucky. Oh, I totally forgot he was stunned. You have to try and do a movement action to remove that, so he only would have attacked once. So, well, either way, at least he missed both times, so we don't have to correct anything. The Mechanist activated and moved up just enough of his yellow move to get within range red of one of those mongrels to unleash his Protectron's gaze. It's a double black dice, 2 base energy damage, but he's not built for fighting. He is only hitting on a 4. So we'll see how that goes. It's a crit fail. Oof. Alright, Pennyworth's going to try and get something done here. He's not engaging the mongrels, he's staying where he is. He's going to use his Mr. Handy Flamer because it does damage in orange, meaning he can hit both of them no matter which one he targets. Only rolling a blue die. He is hitting on 7s thanks to that Mr. Gutsy stat line though. and the blue die makes it do a bunch of other stuff, set them on fire, do some extra damage. The armor break's irrelevant because they don't have any armor. But either way, rolling to hit on E7. That would be crit with a nuke. The nuke's got to be good, right? It's got to be. That is 1 extra damage, so that is 3 damage in an AoE. And as I just said, they don't have armor, so that is 3 damage each. Where on earth am I going to put this? You know what, just for now, there's 2 damage and 2 damage, because they could, well actually no, he can't kill them. Not this turn, he doesn't do enough damage. But he just did half their health in 1 attack, so if he rolled perfectly again, like that, if he got another nuke, which is exceptionally unlikely, he might actually kill them, or he would kill them, because they have no armor. Oh, I forgot to mention, but even though he missed, the Mechanist gets 1 crit point for attacking. Let's see. Get the nuke symbol. No. He hits though. Does the bottle cap? That would break armor. They don't have armor. It's 2 more damage to each of them, so they're up to 5 of their 6 health, so they both have 1 hit left. Last activation of the turn, Dogmeat. He is charging from where he is, because dogs can charge from a very far away distance. All the more reason to do it. So he's charged into this mongrel. They're both in the same state. And he's taking a green die for his charge bonus because I just want the hit to land, because the damage will kill him. He just needs to do 1. So it's on 6s. Yep, okay. Splatted 1 dog. The other one is still alive, but that's okay, because no more enemies are going to spawn going forward. This is it. This is what we've got to deal with, which, barring anything catastrophic, means we should be okay. But there's loot to get, and there is still events to worry about. Oh, Dogmeat was not the last activation. Totally forgot the second Assaultron hadn't activated yet. Wanted to free her up so she didn't have to fight the ghoul, but as it turns out she's going to have to. So, plus the skill die. Here we are. 2 swipes with that Assaultron sword on 6s. Oh, fail with a quick action. Quick action, nope, move and charge, not relevant. Oh, unless she kills it with this attack, of course. I see. Well, maybe I should have just forgot about it. Going into the penultimate turn with an event card, and it's looking pretty good for us, but who knows what will happen. Supply drop. A crate falls from the vertibird as it passes overhead. Place a new item with just an item, face up in a random direction, yellow, from a random model with highest luck. Well, let's do this live then, because I don't know who has the highest luck stat. It's not going to be one of the creatures. No, they're all 1/1/1, and the Yaoguai is 3. The highest luck would be the Mechanist and the Soul Survivor. Both have 4. I believe they're tied for highest. Yeah, they are. So 1 and 3 will be the Soul Survivor then. Yep, okay. And then it was scatters in a random direction, yellow from him. Let's see what direction. We'll go by the little arrow. So there's going to be another item right next to this as we go into the next turn. Top of the penultimate turn, just a reminder, there is no additional enemies to be spawned, so if we're able to clear the board, we can go home early. The job is done, and that might mean we have more time with the Mechanist to get some more information, because he's getting increasingly antsy and wanting to leave, because it's dangerous here, of course. So no new enemies on the board, but there is that item, and it is a said face-up item. You know it is an item with no danger. I had to move it ever so slightly just to be out of the way of the combat there, but it is just sitting there. And I would like to get some loot, but priority is winning. We'll see what happens. So for the AI, it's the putrid glowing one that's going first. I forgot to roll the blue die at the end of his last activation to see if he lets out the radiation burst. It doesn't heal him, it specifies it can't heal himself, and John can't be hurt by a single rad damage, nor can the robots, nor can the Yaoguai, so there's no point rolling for it because it doesn't do anything currently. And he did not roll a nuke, so he's staying where he is and doing 2 swipes into poor John. That power armor's held up so far, well, mostly he's missed, but either way, on 7s. Well, you know, that would be 4 damage versus 3 plus 1. Come on, block it all. Oh, I saw the 3, but he blocks 2 of it, so he blocks the 2 extra damage. That is still the power armor cracking, though. It's only got 4 health, so 2 more damage in that power. Oh, I flipped that to the wrong side. That's a very awkward thing to happen. There, it's fine. 2 damage. If he does that damage again, the power armor is cracked open, and that is bad. He crit failed, thankfully, and doesn't do anything with quick actions. No. Well, you know, I know it's not the smartest activation, but let's see how the ghoul likes 3 black dice rolled against him. John is going to crack out that power fist and smack him. especially while he's still got the full effect of the power armor. Oh, come on. Alright, well he crit failed his first roll. He did get a quick action though. I don't think there's any point doing a prepare. You know what, there might be. Well, he might as well, there's no harm. And his other attack, that's a hit. Breaks 1 armor, 2 damage to his 1+1 then with the armor break. He fully blocked the damage. Okay. The last standing mongrel with 1 health activated, charged forwards, hopped the little fence, and got into base to base with the sole survivor. And is attacking him this turn, taking a black die. For his charge bonus, his dog bite is black, yellow, blue. And he's hitting on a 5. That would be a 10, so thankfully he misses because it would have shattered all his armor. While we're staying up here, I'm going to go with the sole survivor. He's cracking out Grognak's sword, and he's going to swing at the 1 health mongrel. As long as he gets the hit through, it's dead. 9 is actually not good enough. He's hitting on a 7, so he's going to have to use... Oh wait, it came down by 3 there, right? So it did hit, because it was 987. It did hit, sorry, I knocked the dice. But that was definitely a -2, and that was a -1. So it did hit, so it is dead. Thank goodness I noticed that, because I wanted to use his other action. He's going to use the Hunter's Hunting Rifle to shoot at the... Wait, no. Don't shoot at him. Let him get an AI roll first, or it's even less likely it's going to come after you. Shoot the ghoul. Shoot the glass. So he will shoot the ghoul with double yellow, because it's in close range. Actually, is it in close range? I believe it is. Yes it is. With the black die thrown in for the Hunter's Hunting Rifle. On 5s. Oh, sorry, on 7s because he's shooting into combat. It is a hit. 1 and 3 is the ghoul. Well, would you look at that. 3 damage with 2 armor break against the poor Assaultron means it's just super armor he's got left, which cancels that out. So, accidentally shooting the Assaultron for 2 damage. He's clearly been training with that settler. Well, annoyingly, the Yao Guai is going to be going last. The ghoul's activating, and it is taking 2 swipes at the Assaultron. The freshly damaged Assaultron, hitting on 6s. That's a hit for 3 damage. The radiation afterwards doesn't matter. Versus 1+1 armor. No, super armor only. So that is 2 more damage. Let me see here. Got a damage icon right here. So that's the Assaultron up to 4. Assaultrons have 10 health though. So, you know, not hurting too bad. That said, and a second swipe. A 6 is good enough. So that, well, it comes down by 2 anyway. 3 damage versus 2+1. Blocks 2, takes 1 more. So just flip one of these over to the 5. Remove it. Now it's hurting. It's on half health. Oh, do they have to start testing for self-destruct? No, they automatically do self-destruct at 0 HP. Pennyworth moved up to the edge of the building and is going to shoot his Mr. Handy laser into the combat here with the plan of helping. We'll see though, on 7s, sorry, on 9s, the hits. 1 and 3 is the ghoul. He is hitting the ghoul, shatters its only armor because it's, well, it has 2 energy armor but takes it out, so that is 2 more damage. It has 4 health, so unfortunately it does have 1 health remaining and is staying standing. So thankfully for us, no nuke rolled for the glowing Yao Guai's actions, which basically means that secures the win right there, because he doesn't have enough time now to get up there and potentially murk his sole survivor. So we have won, but we're still going to do his actions. We're going to end off this turn and go into the next because I still want a chance to loot. But let's carry on with his attacks. If he kills the Assaultron though, he's freed up. Oh wait, no he's not, he's still in base to base with John. Oh, either way. He is swinging against the Assaultron on 6s. That is a good hit. Oof. Oh, ooh. That's a very good hit. It also is stunning and breaks its arm for a total of 4 damage. 2 armor break means it's just got super armor, which cancels out that. So that is 3 damage with an arm break. So it's up to 5 actually. So we can just flip this. That's handy. So this Assaultron is also at half health, but that was just 1 swing. Robin, in parentheses bear, gets another shot. That is also a hit. It also shatters its normal armor. The star is an arm break again. So it's just the super armor which ignores that, and 2 more damage gets done. That's nasty. Oh, honestly, actually, if one of the Assaultrons was to self-destruct, it could potentially catch the sole survivor in the explosion if it's that one. Yeah, I think we do need to play the last turn with our Leica, not just in case that happens. This Assaultron with the goal with 1 health is going to try and do the job. Finish it off on a 6. Comes down to a 6, does hit it. That is 3 damage, even if it blocks because it's only got 1 armor. Yeah. So that takes out the feral ghoul, so that's that. It's just the 2 tough enemies left. For her other action, she is counting as part of my squad currently. Oh, but she's not a survivor though, so she's not going to get to flip a card for free. She'll charge into the ghoul, the glowing one. Charge in to give John that little bit of help and the outnumbered bonus. Well, we're doing the same 2 rolls again, this time the other Assaultron into the glowing Yao Guai. Let's see how it goes. Well, let's try and do better than that. Didn't she do 2 in a row of that last time? Well, that time we hit, but no, well, 1 extra damage. 3 versus 2 plus 1. Okay, only blocks the 1, 2 damage went through. That's both good and bad. That does lower the threshold for when we're rolling first AI. But as I say, I don't think 1 turn is going to be enough for it to get up and kill the sole survivor. So that's hopefully okay. There's no way I can risk shooting a missile in with the sentry bot or even the minigun 5 times. It doesn't do enough damage. So he is charging in and he is taking a swing. Normally for improvised weapon just a green die, but he is strength 7 plus. He's 8 to be exact, so that's an extra black die. Extra green die for outnumbered bonus, extra black die for charge bonus. So doubles. He's only hitting on a 2. But hey, let's try. Oh, he did it! He actually hit for a total of 2 damage, but where's the armor die gone? There it is. So 2 plus 1, very easy for him to block it all. Sadly he does, but it kind of blocks him from getting away at least. So the Mechanist is going to stay where he is up there, which just leaves Dogmeat and Pennyworth. Pennyworth is going to drop down so he can flip this item, so he's going to take black die of damage. Nothing, thankfully. I mean, I guess Mr. Handy really shouldn't anyway. He's got rocket boosters, for goodness sake. So he's just going to flip that. For Dogmeat, he's just going to help protect the sole survivor by being on this side of him here, just to block off that side in case the Yao Guai charges up the wall. So all that really matters to take us to the end of the turn is what this is. An item and a danger card. I'm going to need to look at the danger cards, but I do have the Wasteland deck over here. Right here. I apologise for the shine. There we go. Still shiny, but at least in focus. Let's find ourselves this. Oh, that's impressive. A Gauss rifle. So you have to prime it to 0 to 2. Oh, so when you prime it, you put bottle cap symbols on this, and each one you have on there is 1 extra guaranteed damage. It's base 3. That is a fancy bit of kit. That is a really nice bit of kit, but it comes at a cost, as most things do. Let's see what that cost is. Containment leak. Thankfully that is irrelevant because Pennyworth is a robot and therefore takes no radiation damage and there's no one around him to be hurt, so no downside at all. We just got ourselves a Gauss rifle for essentially nothing. And let's see the event that's going to carry us into the last turn. Let's go for whatever this is from 2018. It's an older card. It's Diamond City Radio. We have to listen to Travis again, but that's okay. He can blather away while we secure this win. So for this final turn, it only really matters what the 2 enemies do and then getting Pennyworth to the guaranteed item rather than the chance of it being nothing or a danger or whatever. Of the 2, it is the Putrid Glowing one that was randomized first. He just wants to attack. He goes after highest armor, which is still technically John until that power armor is cracked. So 7, on a 7 rather. Oh, okay, that is 4 damage versus his 3 plus 1 for his power armor. He blocks 3, takes 1. The power armor held. So he is going to have to swing again at the full strength power armor. So there is that, which also means the radiation damage can't hurt him currently. But it will if this one cracks him. And it might. That's 3 damage versus 3 plus 1. He actually fully blocked it, and then the radiation damage does nothing. John in power armor works well. So I don't think there's a chance of me killing the glowing Yao Guais in one action, so we're just going to go with Pennyworth. Move, and then a tiny little move to touch this guaranteed item that was from one of the event cards. So we're just going to find something in the Wasteland deck. We found a damaged hazmat suit. Prime selling material, to be honest, but it's added to the pile. So for the glowing Yao Guai, he did actually get the fallback, which we would be treating as objective, but even if he broke away, he would get 3 attacks of opportunity. Then his other action would be to do the automatic climb success. which means he couldn't attack the sole survivor. So if he was going for the objective, technically trying to kill this Assaultron to make it explode is his best option. It's still not going to do it, even if it does explode right there, I think, because I'm pretty sure the explosion damage is like 4 at most. But either way, he's going to attack the Assaultron, see if he can make it explode. 8 is not good enough, which is just, that would have been 5 damage. Well, let's try again. He got him that time. A bunch of bottles. Each one of those bottles would be a stun. Oh, I forgot to apply stun last turn. That Assaultron would only be able to attack once. Not that it matters too much. That's just 2 flat damage, which means even if it all goes through... Oh, actually, oh no, if it goes entirely through, which it doesn't, it would not have been enough by 1, because it has, or she has 3 health left. So the self-destruct is not going to happen. Might as well take us to the end of the turn now. John could technically try and break away from combat to grab one more item. I'm happy with what we've got, so we can cash that in. So as the dust settles and the survivors regroup, they find that the Mechanist has vanished. His robots soon just trundle off into the wasteland after dealing with the stragglers of the creatures that attacked them. Amongst the boxes and barrels and crates and whatnot there, they do find a hastily scrawled note that simply says, "Sorry, I'll look into it." And that is how we're ending off today. With a win though, so we get 200 caps. We sold some stuff for 40 caps, and one of the Explorer cards gave us 103. With the spending of 800 on the anti-material rifle, that means we're ending today with 749 caps to spend on something over the next week. Head over to the community tab in the next hour and cast your vote. Now, some people did want, when we had a bunch of caps, to buy 2 things. That's not allowed. It's 1 thing from the list per week. Now, there is a slight exception if you want something that there is multiple available of, for instance mines or turrets. Say that you want multiple of those, and if there's enough caps to cover it, that will happen. But that's the only exception. Otherwise, it's 1 thing per week. Last thing to go over though, before we end, is the loot. Here's what we brought into combat, and here's what we got. Now thankfully, the unique items don't take up space, so that new kneecapper 44 that's definitely sticking with John, that doesn't take up space. So that leaves us with 2, 4, 6, 7, which means we can just bring it all back. We're going to have to do some inventory management at the start of the next episode, but when is that ever not the case? Really good find with the Gauss rifle. Hunting revolver, it seems good to me, honestly, with this slight chance to stun. Hazmat's for selling for sure. The Power Fist I kind of liked. I like the very consistent stunning that it does, which the Power actually have a higher potential damage output, but you don't have that stun. And I think the stun is pretty good. So either way, that is going to do it this time as we approach the end of the season. Episode 10 next time of 12. Thank you very much for watching and hopefully enjoying. If you want to show your support, just a comment or a like helps. Or if you want to go above and beyond, consider pressing the thanks button or becoming a channel member. It is all reinvested in the channel and future seasons and videos and all that. Enjoy the rest of your Friday though, and I'll see you next time. Ta for now.